Hello and welcome. This is Startup 101. I'm Robert Eldrich, esteemed financial advisor, entrepreneur, marketing strategist, you name it. Welcome. Today's topic is the board of directors. Please forgive me the sparkles and everything. My assistant Donna went a little crazy with this. I don't particularly care for it, but apparently she said it would work with the kids or something. The kids would love it. I don't know, sparkles. You lost me. In any case, the board of directors. A couple terms we're going to throw around. Now, a lot of people might be intimidated by the notion of the board of directors, the higher ups at your company, the chiefs of staff. And I like to think of them as a little family. So here we have the CEO. This is the Chief Executive Officer. Think of him as the daddy-o, the big daddy-o, the man in charge. All right? That's your dad, your father. All right? That'll work. CEO asterisk, that's another CEO. Captain EO. This is a Michael Jackson film that my father took me to, way back in 1988 at Disney. That was one of the last times I remember him ever showing me any affection. Moving on, the CCO. This is the Chief Compliance Officer. This is the person at the company in charge of making sure that the company stays by the books. Think of this as your dad's best friend, Doug, who maybe, after a long day on the sticks playing a long 18, he's the one who goes out with your dad and makes sure he stays in line, doesn't get into any mischief when he's had one too many. The CFO, the Chief Financial Officer. I like to think of this as the mom. You know, the CEO has big ideas in his head and he's too busy to think about money and keeping the bank book in order, and that's the job of the CFO, making sure there's enough money for the basics like groceries. Now, here we have the CIO and the CTO. I like to think of these as my brothers. You have the CIO, who's my younger brother Andrew, the Chief Information Officer. He's a nerd who's always playing video games growing up, and now he's in charge of helping mom with organizing her photos online or on the Facebook or whatever. And then you have your older brother. This is Ron Jr., who also grew up playing video games, bit of a nerd. No one thought he'd amount to much, especially me. But then he went on to have a very successful career as a software programmer for big companies like Google. Maybe you've heard of it. The Chief Marketing Officer is in charge of getting the good word out about the company, giving the company a good public image. And that's like my sister Pamela, my older sister Pamela, who has somehow tricked everyone into believing that my father's a good dad. The Chief Operating Officer. Now this is the man, or sometimes woman, who is in charge of the day-to-day at the company, boots on the ground, getting things done. You know, the CEO, the head of the company, has the big ideas but isn't always around. And that's what the COO is there for. Make sure everyone's in line, the kids are at school on time, everything's clean, the floors are clean, everything's going according to plan. And that's like my housekeeper, Carmela, from Barbados. She loved me. She loved me when my parents... Finally, the CSO, the Chief Security Officer. This is the man, or sometimes woman, who is in charge of making sure information stays within the walls of the company, making sure the ship stays tight. Now, I like to think of this as my dad's younger brother, Dan, Uncle Dan, good old Uncle Dan, who in 1988 walked in on Daddy-O having his way with the Scandinavian nanny, Lynn, and in all those years since has not mentioned it to my mother. In fact, has lied to her face for the sake of the family, for the good of the family. Leave me alone about it. It's for your own good. Anyway, so there we have it, the board of directors. It's a regular dysfunctional family, just like yours and just like mine. And I'll tell you what, sometimes the company has to succeed in spite of them. You can't worry about getting the CEO's approval or, whether or not your dad showed up to your baseball game at the end of the season when everything was on the line and you were pitching for the first time and Sometimes business is your own business. Now go out there and make some money.